Maltushka and I drove up the coast one time from California, came up this way, came up Highway 5. We didn't know we were going, just driving. And we went to a little town called Rogue River. I remember saying, I'd love to have a church here. And a few years later, after I was ordained and such, it took some years, Archbishop Carril, Bishop Carril, now Archbishop, he gave me my choice. He said, you can go to Medford, Oregon, or you can go to Honolulu, Hawaii. I said, Medford, of course. And so that's how I got here. I didn't expect much. I really didn't. And I think that's the best way to go through life. But it was less than I expected. I didn't expect the condition it was in. It was an old home, not the best part of town. And it was a very small parish. From what I knew, it was probably like 14. In actuality, maybe 4 every week if we were lucky. The Archbishop would call me probably once a week and he'd say, you sure you're going to stay? He said, you sure you're staying, Father? I said, that's where he sent me. But so it was, if I wouldn't have that, whatever struggle a priest has at first, whatever I have, it was worth it all. It was worth it all. It was very difficult in those days. Orthodox was unknown. This was a very, very evangelical Protestant area. I wasn't accepted at all. But over time and being persistent and trying to live an Orthodox life, which I'm still trying to learn. I'd get up in the morning, do my prayers, I'd go to the mall, and I have these tracts. And I just walk around the bottom, go up the escalators around the top, and I talk to people. And I talk to people, and I talk to people. And because it's so unusual, an Orthodox priest, people would ask me, are you a rabbi? And of course I show them my cross and say, no. Are you a Muslim? Absolutely not, no. And it would give me a chance to speak with them. And out of that walk, I baptized one family with 7 people. And that's where it started. From Rogue River to Medford, of course, going Highway 5. And I see this house with that old barn. So I finally got the nerve, I guess, or whatever it took, to go up to the door. So I might as well talk to him. We didn't have anything, 0. Doesn't hurt to talk. So I knock on the door, and a woman comes. So I say, you have an accent? Where are you from, may I ask? She said, Russia. And so we sit down, and I tell her what I have in mind. She says, everybody wants this place. My husband died a year ago. Last night was the first night I've been back here in a year. I'm asking God what to do, and you come to the door.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful little church, full of grace. You walk into the church and you feel God's presence in there. First time I came into America, and I've been in this country for less than a week. And I asked my husband to bring me to the church. I walk into the church and I immediately felt accepted. I immediately felt I have family.
The angels in my resurrection in the heavens. Oh Christ, and do thou vouchsafe that we on earth may glorify thee with a pure heart.
Christ is risen.
Truly he is risen.
Christ is risen.
Truly he is risen.
Christ is risen.
Truly he
Тогда наверняка вдруг запляшут облака, и кузнечик запиликает на скрипке. С голубого ручейка начинается река, ну а дружба начинается с улыбки. С голубого ручейка начинается река, ну а дружба начинается с улыбки.
The Russian ethos, that ethos is unlike anything else. And I was in Russia. I know what that's about. There's a piety of the Russians that is not the same. Strength and humility, which is orthodox, is what has impressed me of the people. I think that's what makes our church so unique. I really do. And of course they put up with me, so they must be near sainthood, all of them. I think maybe that's it. In spite of being myself a very unworthy man, I still feel that love. That's very unusual.
Father Seraphim, my father. Sometimes when I feel down and I'm questioning my faith and I'm questioning my earthly choices, life choices, I just come to my father Seraphim for advice and for spiritual support, and I'm feeling like I'm being held as a little child on the arms of my mom or my dad.
Definitely the strongest parish. Strong with this way. Strong with their love for Christ, but strong in humility. We have a very humble, strong parish. We wouldn't be who we are without our connection to the Moscow Patriarch. It's all one church, Moscow and the Russian church abroad. The Russian personality is different. You know, it's not that they're not polite, they just cut right to the chase. And I like that. Sometimes I do it, and American people aren't very, very used to that. You know, that's the way I was taught at the monastery. They didn't say, would you please move here, sit here, stand there. It's simply push you and grunt. You might think they're tough, but inside they're smiling. There's something about the Russian soul. And I tell everybody, yes, I'm a former Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine. I love our country, but my goodness, I love what I see of the Russian people and the Russian church especially.
Благослови, Преосвященнейше Владыку.
Archbishop came 6 years ago, laid the cornerstone and blessed everything.
God is the Lord and hath revealed himself to us. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord.
Building a church, if you don't have the funds, it could be a lot of stress. I have a lot of help, and I have other help. Financially, it just hasn't been there. But somehow, a little here and a little there. I like it this way. It's a struggle for all of us. It's a struggle for all of us, and I like it this, because we'll all have something invested.
This church, in its new location, so to speak, next to the freeway, will provide for those that are Orthodox right now, traveling to and from local centers here in the Rogue Valley, and those that are traveling to and from places long away. For those that aren't Orthodox, this will give them their chance. Pull over off the exit in Rogue River and come to our church and understand our faith.
when I'm gone, that church will still be there speaking to people. It will still be there saying it's a house of God. Whether you're Orthodox or Catholic or Buddhist, driving by, they're going to know it's a house of God. And I believe that's going to be one of our evangelical testimonies. We built a beautiful house of God, not large, but it will be absolutely heaven on earth. For the last 6 years, I can't tell you how many times I've heard from, I would say literally hundreds of people, most of them not Orthodox. When are you going to build a church? This has been my answer for the last few years, and I really mean it. The scriptures say, unless the Lord builds a house, you build in vain. Unless the Lord guards a city, the watchman guards in vain. Now that's on me. Let us commit ourselves and one another in all of our life unto Christ our God. I'm not very good at asking for anything for myself. I'm really not. And I'm not very good at asking for anything even for our church. We don't pass a basket, as you know. We don't ask for offerings, as you know. I want people to feel in their heart that they want to support this. I want to leave room for God to really impress people. Unless the Lord builds the house, you build in vain. I don't know how to say it. Unless to look at you and look in whatever this camera or whatever and say, unless the Lord builds the house, we are building in vain, the house of God. And I hope somehow this gets through to people and they say, I want to be part of this. I have nothing to offer them. I can't offer them anything other than our deepest prayers. I think there's enough people out there who will understand that. It has to stay spiritual. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builder builds in vain. Unless the Lord protects the city, the watchman watches in vain.